Hello game fans and welcome to another video from Gaming Debugged. Now, Star Wars has always been a big part of my life, from watching and re-watching the movies, collecting and playing with all the figures and toys, to pretty much playing every mainstream Star Wars game ever released. These include the crimes against video games such as Obi-Wan and Super Bombad Racing. From the camel versus bird style Empire Strikes Back on the Atari 2600 to the epic Star Wars Battlefront on the Xbox One, I have played enough of them to gather together a pretty substantial list. I expect that some of my choices won't be popular, but for me, these were the best. And as May the 4th is now upon us, it's time to share with you my top 10 Star Wars games of all time, circa 1980 to 2017. At 10, Super Star Wars, the series. The Super Star Wars series on the Super Nintendo was the first time you got to play as multiple characters from the Star Wars universe in this fantastic run-and-gun side-scrolling adventure. The action was broken up with third-person levels that included sand speeders and X-Wings. The game also enjoyed a slew of boss battles with characters not actually in the movie. Whilst being notoriously difficult and being rather liberal with the source material, it allowed gamers to experience all aspects of the original trilogy. At 9, Star Wars Episode 1 PODRACER Arcade. Despite the film being panned, the pod race sequence was still very impressive, and the idea of this high-speed race really suited the video game medium. The home version of the game on the PS2 was great fun, but for the best experience you needed to hit the arcade. The pod racer shaped cabinet came with 2 flight sticks for left and right control, and a huge 32-inch screen set just a metre away meant that you could almost feel the heat from the engines. With full Dolby surround sound, this was one of the best things to come out of the first movie. At number 8, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. This N64 classic released early in the console's lifecycle and was set between Empire and Jedi. You play as Dash Rendar as he helped Luke Skywalker save Princess Leia from the evil Prince Sizor. The game was mainly a third-person shooter with additional levels that saw Dash race through busy towns on a speeder bike shaped like a chopper. It also had a fantastic snowspeeder level set in the Battle of Hoth. At 7, Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. Jedi Knight took the solid foundation of the original and used an upgraded engine, live-action cinematics, and of course the addition of Jedi powers that switched the normal first-person shooting into a third-person hack-and-slash. Dark Forces 2 allowed me to really feel the Force by giving me a steadily growing selection of Jedi powers. After getting my dead father's lightsaber, I was soon able to jump higher, deflect blaster fire, and pull weapons from enemies' hands. The story of Cal Katarn's search for his father is engaging and well acted, and Jarek and his Dark Jedi are a side of the Star Wars universe that we hadn't actually seen before. Number 6. LEGO Star Wars. When LEGO applied its particular style of humour to the Star Wars franchise, it not only opened it up to smaller children, but also recaptured the fun of the whole saga. Having played with the figures throughout my childhood, being able to pick and choose from a huge variety of these amazing characters was fantastic. The LEGO game was packed full of puzzles and secrets, all played out on familiar backdrops. The drop-in couch co-op also meant that it was fun with friends, making it a worthy title to make the list. At 5, Star Wars Battlefront Arcade. Whilst arcades do not attract the crowds that they used to, it didn't stop Bandai Namco releasing the stunning Battlepod with an epic 1.8 meter curved screen set around a vibrating flight chair equipped with 2 joysticks. The fully enclosed unit meant that the sights and sounds and even the wind came from all angles. This semi-railed shooter sees players battle across 6 iconic locations, including a recent level from The Force Awakens. The speed is intense and the Battlepod beautifully blends the best of Star Wars with the spirit of arcade action. If you haven't already played this, then I urge you to seek it out. At 4, Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2. Whilst Battlefront 2 didn't fix the issues inherent with the first game, it certainly delivered on additional content. Action shooter fans could revel in being immersed in these epic battles from the movies and play a range of frontline soldiers on all the locations that we know and love. Battlefront 2 added space battles into the mix, allowing players to run into a hangar, take off and suddenly be able to take down a Star Destroyer. Similarly, the addition of the hero characters meant that you could switch to be the iconic and largely overpowered main characters, slashing your enemies or blasting them with force power. The sheer vastness of the experience secures its place on this list. At 3, Star Wars TIE Fighter. The new story mode in Battlefront 2 on the Xbox One owes a lot to Star Wars TIE Fighter, as it was one of the first games to do something revolutionary, to legitimize the Empire. Now, over 20 years old, this amazing flight sim was fantastic to play using a joystick and keyboard. Players could control all aspects of the battle, from shield management to wingman AI, and either use 3 buttons or 30 buttons. But where the game really shone was the way it told the story from the Empire's perspective. Escorting banned contraband, protecting space stations from rebels, collecting important peacemakers. The way the story unfolded, I was nearly brainwashed into thinking that I was a good guy. No other Star Wars game has tried to achieve this, and TIE Fighter did it fantastically. At 2, Star Wars Battlefront. The 2016 Star Wars Battlefront is a beautiful re-energizing of the classic Battlefront games, taking all the knowledge learned from countless Battlefield games and applying it to the Battlefront model. The graphics and sounds are some of the best that we have seen to date, with in-game cutscenes and a multitude of vehicle combat sections. The heroes have all been kept from Battlefront 2, and the levels have all been lovingly crafted to give the feel that you're in the movie. Sadly, it was lacking in a single-player mode, and the DLC should have been included from the start. However, the complete package is a superb experience and whets my appetite for the upcoming sequel. And now, at number 1, it has to be KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic. Set 4,000 years before the formation of the Galactic Empire, KOTOR tells the deeply weaving narrative about the ancient Jedi and their near extinction by the hands of Darth Malak and his Sith armada. Players can choose the path of the light or the dark and enjoy 2 very distinct endings. KOTOR opened up the Star Wars universe unlike anything that came before it, and so it easily gains a place at the top of my top 10. This game was so massive and so deep, it certainly deserves to be number 1. Now, I'm sure these top 3 will be a decisive, and possibly the whole list will cause problems. These games let me experience this beloved franchise, and even as an adult I get a thrill using a blaster or striking with a lightsaber. What was your favourite game, and what do you think should be on the list? Comment below and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video very soon. May the Force be with you.
Finish him!